Hello, hello, and welcome to our webinar where today we're going to show you how to turn your website into a client generating money machine.
One of my very favorite things.
I know, and this is a fun. It's a natural follow-up. Last month we shared secrets on how to use LinkedIn to grow your influence and income, and we'll actually have a link later on. We can send you an email of how to get that. But now we're going to talk about websites. So today I'm Doug Brown. I'm Doug Brown every day.
I'm Walt Hampton, and thrilled to be with you. This is one of my favorite topics to share and to teach. We're going to get right into it because I know you're all busy. We're going to come in at under an hour. We're not selling anything or pitching anything, so just relax and take some notes. At the end, we are going to share with you how you could take advantage of a free website review, which we think will be valuable, which you know will be valuable to you. But let's just jump right into it with the presenting problem. Here's the problem. And we see this over and over and over again with our clients' websites, particularly professionals and lawyers. What's happening is they are spending a lot of money, usually, sometimes time, with website developers. But the truth is, what is coming out of the process, and we have reviewed hundreds of websites, is a big waste of time and money not well spent. And that's because so many websites start about you, your firm, your credentials, all of those things that we like to tout, all of those things that we like to advertise, how many years we've been in business, how passionate we are about the work we do, what kind of education we have, what kind of certifications and specialties we've had, and nobody cares. Not in the first instance. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about how long you've been in business. And so often we see websites that are beautifully designed, but don't land what we refer to as the airplane because they are way too complicated. And they are too complicated because there is, as we refer in marketing, there is no hook. In all of marketing, you know this, friends, we are inundated with messages. We are inundated with advertising. We are inundated with being retargeted on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And there is precious little time to get the attention of our prospect, our potential client. And so it's important to have what we call the hook, which we're going to talk about, because there is one thing that most busy professionals and firms miss when they're creating their sites, when they're having a developer create their site. They're missing this one thing. The one thing that people need to know, and they need to know it within 4 seconds. And this is often missing, Doug.
So here's the opportunity when we get through today, and it's the opportunity to simplify everything about your website to save you time and money, and at the same time attract exactly the clients you want. So you have qualified leads and you're not wasting your time on pointless meetings who aren't a good fit for you or who can't afford what you do. And that will turn your website into what we like to call is a money machine instead of a money pit.
Yes, indeed. So you said simplify earlier, and I like simple. And the simple elements of a website are so fundamental. If you only pay attention to these 4 elements, you're going to have that money machine. And most practitioners, most professionals, they miss these 4 elements. Even the best website designers won't be able to fix this unless you get it right from the get-go, because most web designers aren't focused on the things that we're talking about today. So the first essential of a website, the first element of a website is who do you help and what problem do you solve? This is so key. This is the most important thing, because here's what happens in the typical client and customer journey. Someone becomes aware of you through your marketing. Maybe it's referral marketing. Maybe it's content marketing. Maybe it's social media marketing. Maybe you're on the side of a bus. The marketing is what creates awareness. When someone becomes aware of you through any of those marketing means, they come and they check you out. They check out the foundational elements of your business. And we led last week or last month with LinkedIn, because many professionals go to a LinkedIn profile first, but many also go to a website and they have one and only one question. Can you help me solve my problem? Can you help me solve my problem in the words that I use to describe my problem? And so what we often see in so many websites is above the fold, before you scroll, how many years people have been in business, how passionate they are about the work they do, how responsive they are, and they waste that precious 4 seconds. In fact, they waste so much time on stuff that people don't care about, because in that precious 4 seconds, you've got to answer that magic question. Can you help me solve my problem? Now, let me just drill down a little bit into the lawyering world. If you are casting your net wide, and this is a whole other topic we go into, you are trying to bring all things to all people. Well, think about, friends, how you yourselves go out into the marketplace. Let's just say you're having an audit. You want somebody who understands audits. You don't want a general accountant. Think about if you have a medical issue, your particular medical issue, you want to go narrow. And so what we teach to our lawyers, and in fact, all of the business professionals, is the entrepreneurial paradox. And the entrepreneurial paradox is narrow is power. So if your who and do what statement on your website says, we are a general legal practice, well, that doesn't tell me much. Or we're a general accounting practice. I want to know who in particular you help and what problem you solve, because we as consumers go narrow. I'll give you another example outside of the legal and professional world. I'm an ultra distance runner. My wife and business partner is an ultra distance runner. She snapped her ankle. We wanted somebody who understood runners. So we sought out an orthopedic person who helps runners heal quickly. We sought out a physical therapist who specialized in runners to help them get back on the road fast. Who do you help? What problem do you solve?
Another thing people are looking for when they come to your website is they want to see you. And that's a picture of you and your team, not a picture of a courthouse or a famous building or scales of justice or other things like that. Even better, a welcome video. I connected with a lawyer who actually has a focus practice on LinkedIn, and I went to their website to look, and it was a beautifully designed website. And, remembering that it's people do business with people. So this website, there was a video where the video said a little bit about them and their ethos and why you should work with them, what makes them different. And that helped you know more about who that firm is, because you're creating a relationship. I mean, your website is your front door to your business. Now,
that piece, I just want to tease out that distinction. When you can ideate and imagine that the website is the front door of your business and you're in the relationship business, well, somebody comes, they're knocking at your door, and you want to open that door, and you do that in the virtual world with a video. Hey, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're here, I imagine that you may be a successful entrepreneur or business professional. And I imagine that maybe you make more than $500,000 a year and you don't have a good estate plan in place. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. We can help you dial in an estate plan that will give you peace of mind. And so think about how you would welcome a professional client, a husband, a wife, your ideal client avatar. Think about opening the door and how you would welcome that person.
Yeah. If they were to walk in the door and say, tell me what you do, can you solve my problem? What would you say? And there's something else important in this example I mentioned, Walt, is they had a number of other videos, but the quality of the videos was very low quality and the audio was terrible, as in you couldn't hear in one of them. So if you're going to invest in video, you don't need to hire a production company. You can get a lot of good stuff on your phone, but it's a front door of your business. So if your windows are dirty, or if people can't see through them, or if you have bad audio or grainy video, people will go away. Yes. So when they have to decide to walk in the doors of your practice, you have to give them a glimpse of the problem you solve and that you're their person. So
and that video is a very powerful modality for creating that first impression and creating that first connection. So first two elements of the four above the fold, before you have to scroll on your phone, before you have to scroll on your laptop, a very clear statement of who you help and what problem you solve, so you can answer that magic question. Can you help me solve my problem? And the second element is a photo, not a stock photo, because as Doug said, people do business with people, but better yet, that welcome video. And the third element is sorely missing from so many professionals' websites. And that's a way to invite people into your world so that you can do the one thing that will turn that prospect into a real client. So the customer journey, someone hears about you, they come and they check you out. They go, I think that maybe this guy, Doug, might help me be able to solve my problem. Now, if all you have is a billboard along the internet highway, which is what most busy professionals have, you will never know that this person has come to your site. But if in your welcome video you go, and hey, friends, to get you started on this path, I have this amazing resource. So one of our clients, Bernadette, she specializes in personal injury and auto accidents. And on her website, she says, hey, friends, so sorry that you've been in an accident, or that somebody you care about has been in an accident. I've got this amazing resource, the 7 deadly sins to avoid if you've just been in an accident. And your potential visitor goes, oh, I don't want to get any deadly sins. Let me get this resource. And now Bernadette has a way to follow up with you and to continue to serve you and to deepen the relationship. So if you do not have a way to capture the intel of people who visit your site, you are just an expensive billboard along the internet highway that people speed by without you ever knowing. Having lead capture is so critically important.
And where I see many lawyers failing in this is they will put all kinds of resources on their website to educate their potential client about the subject matter areas of their practice. Those are perfect content pieces for lead capture. So having everything on your website for people to hunt around, wouldn't you rather have somebody click and then you send it to them, so now you can start engaging with them? So many lawyers have the content available. It's just not configured in the right way.
Absolutely. So we've covered 3 of the 4 essential elements. The who and do what, who you help, what problem you solve. The second is a nice personal photograph, not a stock photograph, but better yet, a welcome video. Third, and this is easy after that welcome video, to invite people to access some type of resource so that you can then continue to follow up with them. And the fourth component of an effective website, super easy, sounds dumb, but it's an easy way to contact you. We counsel and like that it's either a hyperlinked email, support@lawfirm.com, or info@ or a particular person @ or a hyperlinked phone number, whichever way you prefer people to be in contact with you, up in the right-hand corner on the homepage. Now you say, well, I have a contact page and I love my contact page. Well, that's great. You can have a contact page. You don't need a contact page, but people are lazy. Any type of friction when people are moving quickly reduces the likelihood that they'll actually convert. And so a super easy way for people to contact you, their eye is going to go up into that right-hand corner, make it super easy for them to connect with you.
And when they have connected with you by phone or text or email or whatever you've chosen, you absolutely positively must have a way to respond promptly to them and be responsive. How you handle that first call, how quickly you handle the first call, how responsive you are is essential to starting the relationship, because they have to feel that to take the next step. Don't assume you're the only law firm that they clicked on. Like when we moved to South Carolina from Connecticut, I was looking for a real estate attorney, and the website had all the right elements of real estate first, and it was followed. They talked about something else they did, estate planning. So here I am, a client of theirs, and the contact was okay to a receptionist when I went back for estate planning. But then I got into this place where I didn't get responsive feedback. They thought very much in their own heads, and they sent me a 47-page questionnaire about everything in my life before I even talked to a person, and I got that from a secretary. So I see so many lawyers who can actually get traffic, and they lose it because their process to begin the relationship after somebody has contacted them is so broken. And it's something that many lawyers don't pay attention to. So that's you got to be easy to contact, and then you've got to start building the relationship.
So important, Doug. You and I have done marketing strategies, webinars in the past. And one of the marketing strategies that we talk about is creating delight. And by that, we mean raising the experience that your prospects have with you. And we all know how miserable the customer and client experience is across professions and industries and retail establishments. If you can incorporate this one thing of responsiveness and ease and communication after people have contacted you, that's magic.
So I want to come back to a really important thing that you mentioned, Walt, and it's kind of the most important thing. And think about how it is that you behave when you go to a website, and it happens really fast.
Yeah, it happens. The research used to show 5 seconds, and now it's 4 seconds, and dwindling quickly. People are surfing the web quickly. 80% of your searches, by the way, friends, is going to be on mobile. So you want your website mobilely enabled and optimized. But before anybody scrolls anywhere, because people are lazy, scrolling takes time. There's friction there. You must answer that question. Can you help me solve my problem? You have to answer that question in 4 seconds or less. Now, as I said before, people don't care about how long you've been in business, or what certifications or trainings you have, or how passionate you are, or how committed you are to customer care, or how many certifications you have, or how many jurisdictions you've been admitted to, or whether you're in the Supreme Court. They don't care about that in the first instance. I went to an Ivy League school. I think maybe 10 people ever asked me where I went to law school, let alone whether I was really licensed as a practicing attorney. I thought, after a number of years, I probably could have just spent my money on a nice suit. People want help with their problem. And you have 4 seconds to answer that question.
And I want to just expand on that just for a minute, because one of the things I see lawyers do is they'll think about the client's problem as a lawyer. So a classic example is in estate planning. They may say, well, the client needs an estate plan and a living trust and a will and a power of attorney and yada, yada. That's not why clients go to estate planning lawyers. They go to estate planning lawyers because their problem is things like, how do I protect my daughter from my future ex-son-in-law? How do I make sure that my wishes will be honored when I can't speak for myself or I'm disabled? How do I keep the government from taking all my money? Those are the problems that they're looking to solve. They're not looking for the legal documents. Somebody's looking for a criminal defense lawyer. What do they want? They want freedom. They want to go back to their life. So if you're talking about how you solve their problem as a technician, I would invite, that's polite coach speak, to go do this, is to figure out what words your ideal clients are using, what keeps them up at night when they begin their search to look for you. And if that language, if that problem isn't evident above the fold in 4 seconds, you've lost them.
Yeah, and there's actually, Doug, you and I, as a company, we have access to a premium tool that allows us to gather great intel on this, but there are free tools. One such free tool is trends.google.com, trends.google.com, and you can put in various words that you think are going to land with your marketplace, and Google is going to tell you whether you're right or whether you're wrong. And there can be the slightest little twist and turn in the languaging you use that will absolutely either alienate or resonate and bring in that ideal prospect.
So one of the things, Walt, that we see professionals and lawyers investing a lot of time in is very elaborate websites with multiple pages and sub pages and all that stuff. And then we talk about, you can fit it on a single page, right?
Yes. So people spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on websites. And in fact, many professionals feel really good when they've got an expensive website, because they think an expensive website equals a effective website. And that's not usually the case in our experience. If all you had is one page for a website, it would be just fine if you had those 4 elements that we've talked about: a who and do what, a photo or a welcoming video, the ability to do capture, and the contact information. You can put all that on one page. Now, we're going to recommend, for a number of reasons, that you have other pages on your website, and we're going to give you some caveats about that. But you need to have, you can get away with, in fact, you can have a really successful money machine if all you have is a single page that has those 4 components on it. And what most people make the mistake of is having way too much information, way too many choices, way too much non-essential information, as opposed to just the thing that matters most, those essential 4 things.
So, Walt, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the problem you solve, the photo or video, the ability to capture, and how to contact you. And I just want to give an example of a woman that I worked with, very successful, nationally known person who helps call centers raise the level of the quality of their response. And we all know that's a big problem. Well, Monica was nationally known in this firm, and she was going out. She was a coaching client of ours. She was going out and having a website done. And she had a contract for a $10,000 website. And in the middle of this, the designer went out on disability because she had a complicated pregnancy, and she was offline. And Monica needed to have this site up because she was going out to pitch some new prospects. we took some of the photos, some of the collateral, we created we did this in 45 minutes. We created a very simple website with the 4 elements on them, and we published it. And for the next several months, Monica used that page very successfully. And we track metrics on websites, number of visits, number of conversions, how long people stay. And what's fascinating, Doug, is the web designer came back online about 6 months later. She finished the site. It was a beautiful site, but at no time did that beautiful, expensive $10,000 website outperform the single page with the 4 elements.
So, and it's such a powerful thing, because I see so many lawyers and other professionals, they spend 6 months or a year before they even get going, because the page has to be perfect, and a single page can be done much more quickly. So, well, if somebody wanted to add a second page, what's the second most important page, and why does it matter?
So most people would vote either contact or about me. Well, first of all, we've already taken care of the contact. And second, we've already talked about the website not being about you. So the second most important page is a blog page. You see, people spend a lot of time and a lot of money on SEO, search engine optimization. In fact, you can go out and hire a prospect, a professional today who will charge you like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month to help you with your SEO. And that sounds fancy and important. But what the search engines reward the most on websites is new content. And so to extend Doug's example of estate planning, if the estate planning firm every week shares some recent updates or shares some fresh perspectives or tips around estate planning, that fresh content will optimize you with the search engine. Regardless of your discipline, of your practice area, regardless of where you are as a professional or entrepreneur, fresh content is the single most important thing you can do to raise the profile of your pages. So if you had only 2 pages, it would be that home page with the 4 elements, and then a blog page that would help you raise the visualization, the optimization of your website on the web.
Yes. So the other page you can do is you can have an about you page, but there's a trick. It's not actually about you.
No way.
and you can think, and we've said this over and over again, but in the context of the about page, what they need to do is focus on they're coming in with a particular problem. So your about page isn't about you. It's about how you solve that problem, maybe who you've solved that problem for, and what special or unique way you have about going about solving their problem. It doesn't have the litany of how smart you are, Walt. I back in the days before COVID, I was talking to a room of over 100 lawyers at a bar association conference, and I said, "So who here is committed to providing the best service to their clients?" And everybody raised their hand. And I said, "So how many of you went to great schools?" And everybody raised their hand except for one person, but that's a different story. And then I asked, who's got the best team? And so on and so on. And the point there, as the point here, is if there are lots of ways clients can get their needs met, the way you make your about page is about your unique spin on how you solve their problems. Don't allow them to say, well, this person's smart and they won all these cases, therefore they should, I should hire them. So go ahead and let's expand on that.
I want to just extend that a little bit. And I want to give an example of what an effective about you page would look like. And it starts with meeting your prospect, your potential client, where she or he or they are. This is so important. So let's just imagine. So I was the managing partner of a firm that did criminal defense. My client avatar, my ideal client avatar was the son or daughter of a successful partnership. So husband, wife, wife, living in a nice suburb. Their combined income was $300,000 to $600,000. Their kids were in good suburban schools or great prep schools. The kids were on an AP track. They wanted to get their kids into great colleges or universities, and OMG, their son or daughter was picked up for possession or DUI or having a party with underage drinking or reckless driving. And when someone like that suffers a conviction, well, financial aid is at risk, the prospect of getting into colleges, the prospect of getting jobs, everything's at risk. And so my About Me page back in the day would say, this is my About Me page. I'm immediately in their world. Hey, if you're here, I imagine that you might be worried sick. You have a son or a daughter who's been arrested or might be about to be arrested. And you are losing sleep because you're worried about how that's going to impact their future, their college, their university, their financial aid, your reputation, their reputation. Everything feels like it's at stake. I want you to know that you're in the right place, because what I know after decades of doing this work is that there are outcomes that can leave your precious son and daughter free of the constraints of the things that might haunt them all of their life. We've been doing criminal defense for decades. We have amazing relationships with prosecutors and judges. We will give your son or daughter the best defense possible. And then my bio, where I tell them how great I am because I went to Cornell Law School and my awards and things like that, in less than 100 words. My About page was all about them. You need to meet your prospect where she or he is in that moment in pain where they're looking for help.
So true. As you want them, as they're reading that, to be nodding their head saying, how does this person know what I'm going through?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So let's move on, because one place that people get tangled up in their website is in their technology and all the stuff in the back office that makes it work. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No. So people say, well, where should I start with a website? There are lots of tools, lots of people out there who want you to spend a lot of money on stuff. There are various frames on which you can build a website. The frame that we recommend is WordPress. WordPress is one of the earliest frames for websites, and it was built especially for blogging, that is search engine optimization. The beautiful thing about WordPress is it's pretty easy to move in and out of. Your website is a piece of marketing collateral that needs to be evolving all of the time, which means as your prospective clients talk about and express what their big problem is, you're going to want to have the opportunity in real time to tweak that language so that you're always meeting with your prospect where she or he or they are. And so you need to be able to move in and out of your website easily. WordPress allows you to do that. You need to be able to make updates and changes without going out to an expensive designer or website person. You need to be able to load your blogs seamlessly on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So getting a WordPress frame is important. And you can get free WordPress templates, which we say don't do because you want your design work to look professional. But to look professional doesn't mean that you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. There are templates. We like Divi, D-I-V-I 3.0. It's a suite of templates, professional looking, so easy, plug and play templates. There's also a framework called Elementor that many people like with respect to premium templates for WordPress. When you use one of those premium template packages with a WordPress base, it's really easy to put a site together in a fairly short period of time without a lot of expensive coding or expensive design work. So that's the basic piece for a website frame. And of course, Doug, we want to talk about, we said that we want a responsive website. So we need to connect the website with something. If we invite people into our world so that they can enter their name and their email address and get the 7 things you must know if your son or daughter has just been arrested. We want to be able to immediately respond and follow up. And so a lead magnet is a resource that your prospect can use right then to help tamp down their stress level around the problem they want solved. So Bernadette, the 7 deadly sins to avoid if you've just been in an accident. Oh my God, I've just been in an accident. I don't want to do deadly sins. I better get this resource. And so I enter my name and my email, and the website then is integrated with what we call a CRM or automation tool, a customer relation management tool. And immediately after that prospect enters the name and the email address, it triggers a sequence in your CRM and sends out the resource. Hey, Doug, thanks so much for visiting our site. And thanks so much for requesting the 7 things you need to avoid if you've just been in an accident. Here's the resource. Let me know if you have any questions. Really simple, just like that. So the integrations off a WordPress site are pretty easy. Most CRMs will integrate easily with a WordPress frame, and the lead magnet can live as a media file on your website. The lead magnet can live in Dropbox with a URL. The PDF resource guide it can live in a lot of different places, and you just deliver it through the CRM. But Doug, there's magic in the next step.
Yes, and before we move to that magic, just one addition. Everything that you just talked about is something that our listeners have to pay attention to, even if they've hired someone else to do it for them. We're big fans of figuring out what you need and then finding the person to do it. The thing is, if you're not educated about the stuff that we just talked about, you can get talked into a design or a solution that doesn't allow you to separate and do that work yourself at the end. And that integration and lead magnet, the beautiful thing about that is you can also use your CRM for 3 days after they get the lead magnet. You can send them a follow-up message, and maybe sometime after that. So you're beginning to engage with them in that way, so they call you when they're ready. So
yeah, so the magic, Doug,
the magic
is in the follow-up.
That's right.
Okay, because I'll use a dating metaphor. You go out, you're at a wedding, you slow dance with somebody you think might be potential for a relationship, and you say, it'd be lovely to have coffee. And 6 months goes by, and you decide to follow up with a coffee invite, and the person goes, "Who are you, and why are you calling me?" If business is based upon relationship, if business is based upon know, like, and trust plus time, as you say here, we need to nurture and build relationship over time. And as we say, The rules of a relationship are not suspended in the virtual world, Doug.
Yes. So over the course of time, you need to really do three things. You need to connect with them, engage with them in a way that adds value, and then adds more value and adds even more value. And it's not putting an ask in, it's giving information, it's asking thought-provoking questions. And then eventually in that sequence that you would design, you will have a call to action because you've now engaged them enough where they have built up enough trust where they might be welcoming to an offer. And by the way, just to link back to, last month we talked about LinkedIn. You see this done badly on LinkedIn all the time. You connect with somebody and then they drop a long offer at you. Don't do that. Engage, add value, and then you want to have a call to action. So before we get to our last point, maybe even the most important one we've talked about, we have a call to action for you. We do webinars and training all the time, and we see so many regulars who come to the training, and sometimes the same ones over and over again, and they tell us it's great stuff, but they're not making the progress they want. Doing the same thing over and over again, hoping it will work, isn't the strategy. Reading books, taking webinars, and then back to the same old routine, that you get the same results. We want to help with that. So we have that offer you mentioned, Walt, earlier on for our listeners for attending today's program, something to help you accelerate your progress and break through your obstacles with your website. And that's with a website review. It's a one-on-one conversation where we will provide feedback on your website and give you some tips on how you can turn your website into a client-generating money machine. And it's just about 30 minutes, and it's incredibly powerful.
So, Doug, over on the right-hand side, you have that on the slide. It looks beautiful. But on the right-hand side, our listeners will see I have popped up that Book Your Strategy Call session with a little green button down below. If you're listening to this webinar as a replay, the button is likely going to be down underneath the replay. But there's a button there, and it says, click here to start underneath Book a Call. You click that, it'll take you to a very short intake form. We're going to ask you for some information so that we can start the review and show up and really get into action and give you that feedback. And even the tiniest tweaks to your site can dramatically increase the traffic and dramatically increase the conversions so that you have your ideal clients coming in the door. So, as Doug suggested, oftentimes having somebody to jumpstart you, to provide you that outside perspective is the best way to get going. We think we have the best profession on the planet. We want to see you succeed. And so we, on a regular basis, when we do these, open up a limited number of spaces to give you this feedback. If you want to take advantage of this, and we encourage you to do this because we know it can make such a big difference in your business, go over there on the right-hand side, click the green button, book a call. If you're on the webinar replay, that button may be down at the bottom. We would love to be able to serve you to help you really accelerate your success here. So, Douglas, on to the next point.
On to the next point. It's probably the most important point after everything. Everything's important, but this is the next most important. And that is that your website is a work in process. It's very easy to say, wow, I got that done. I'm going to check that box. I'm going to forget it. I'll look at it once a year. And that's a mistake. You need to keep your website current. You need to be paying attention to how it's responding and make it part of the routine of your marketing system, because
change is the only constant, Douglas. And that's the
I've heard that before.
Only thing we can be certain of. But let me just tease the distinction a little bit further. As time changes, we're hearing different messaging. So let's just roll back the clock to a year ago. all of us were still talking a lot about the pandemic and the impact of the pandemic in the marketplace. Now we're hearing predominantly the news around inflation and the cost of doing business and the inflationary pressures. Next year, next month, it will be something different. If you view your website and your marketing collateral and your LinkedIn profile as one and done, you will quickly lose the market. You will be seen as irrelevant. You will be seen as tone deaf. So as we've suggested before, you need to be listening to how your clients, your prospective clients, your actual clients, how they articulate the problem that they want solved in their language. The challenge, friends, is as successful professionals, we know what our clients need. We've been doing this work for a long time. We know what they need. But many times, if not most times, our clients want something, and we need to sell them what they want in terms of how they articulate it, so that we have the opportunity and the privilege to give them what they need. And we will never have that opportunity and that privilege unless we're listening really closely to the market, so we're hearing what our ideal client actually wants.
Yes. And one of the things, Walt, when we work with clients on their who and do what statement you talked about earlier, that's not one and done either, is it?
No, it's coming back to the pandemic, Doug. You and I love to speak. We love to get out on big stages. We love to do association work. If you did not, in the pandemic, immediately message that you were a skilled virtual speaker, live stages were dead. Live stages are still challenging. So just that subtle message, oh my God, we've got a situation now where we've got to switch to virtual training. Who can help us solve that problem? That little nuance kept us very busy through the pandemic. So listening to the market, listening to how that problem is articulated, and always tweaking that message. Who do you help? What problem do you solve? Remembering that
it's all about them, and their views of the world change, and you've got 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4,
and they're gone.
And they're gone. So clear, concise, direct. So I want to invite you to pick one thing, because we know that change only happens when you're in action. Take a look at your site. What's one thing you can do today to follow up on what you've learned, to write it down, and to put it on your calendar so that you make sure it happens?
I love that. And if all you do is go down that list of 4 elements one by one and tackle each of those 4 elements in that order, and even if it takes you the next quarter to do that, you will have made quantum leaps above other people in the marketplace. So picking that one thing and taking that first step, remembering that it doesn't need to break the bank, it doesn't need to take a lot of time. 4 simple elements. Everything depends on this. So we're so grateful that we have this opportunity to spend this time with you. We love that you come to our webinars and spend some time with us. We know that this stuff moves the dial, that this stuff actually makes a difference in the marketplace, and we so want that for you. We want to encourage you to take advantage of our website evaluation and review and spend some time with us so we can help you tweak it. We're going to see you next month for those of you who are regulars. And for now, be in action. Ideas are great. Action is where it happens. Turn your website into a client-generating money machine. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye for now.